Hey, what's up everyone? This is K Collections. Today I'll be unboxing the Lancer Coup 1/8 scale figure from Rouge. Now, this is the same manufacturer that created the Castor Gilgamesh figure. If you saw that video, I wasn't that happy because there were some QC issues. Hoping this doesn't have any QC issues itself. What I can tell is, so far it's okay, and we don't know until we open the box. My only biggest concern is, well, I guess, if there's any broken pieces, or if the spear is warped, because that tends to happen sometimes with, scale figures, which sucks. Alright, there isn't much accessory. First you have the instructions, make sure to read it, like I keep saying. You don't want to break anything, although recently instructions have been pretty bad. They go out of order in my opinion. Next is the base, and I will say the base looks alright. It's not as high quality as Good Smile Company's base. If you've seen like the Saber ones, those are amazing. I guess the main issue is that the center blocks of the floor of the base, it looks just a bit plain, maybe more shading towards the middle, and there isn't too much detail. I mean, there are little bumps here and there, but it looks very flat towards the middle. The cracks on the floor, however, looks great. Some shading all around, but again, it's not as good quality, or not, I shouldn't say good quality, it's not as great as a Good Smile in comparison. Again, it's just the centerpiece or center blocks that just seems a bit flat. However, they are in different levels. You can see some of the concrete floor are higher than the other blocks, so that's very nice right there. So you have his famous spear, Gabolg, and I'm not going to attach this yet because you're supposed to insert it into his hand first. I'll review it separately, but for the long piece, it looks good. It has this nice metallic red shine to it, although it can use shading across because it just looks not plain. That's not the right word. I just can't find, I don't know what the right word to explain it, but it's just like shading would have helped a lot, especially towards the end piece as well. There's none whatsoever. Detailing looks good, the sculpting. For the tip, now with every, I guess, weapons, right? Swords, spears, anything with a sharp point, always check if there's like a dent on the tip. Because sometimes, unfortunately, there is. I've experienced it multiple times. But for the tip of the spear, it looks good. Now there's some shading. Let me focus the camera. There's some shading on the two end pieces right there. So that's good. Nice sculpting on the middle. I think that's a paint issue. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there's like a black dot on the tip of the spear. That sucks a bit. I could try to scrape it off, but I'm not going to risk scraping the red paint, so I'll just leave it. Not that big of a deal. Alright, so here's Coup with everything put together. Before I talk about the figure itself, a few things I want to mention. Insert the right foot onto the base first, and then swivel his left foot around to connect it to the peg. It'll make life so much easier instead of trying to... I don't know what's with Rouge and their alignments for bases. I mean, there was an issue with my Castor Gil if you saw the video, but it's not as bad, but... The bottom of his, the painting of his foot was scratched a bit because, again, it was just misaligned. So if yours is misaligned, insert the right foot first, swivel around, and insert his left foot afterwards. And another problem, not really a problem, but it is a bit tight when inserting the two spears together. Honestly, if you can't connect it, don't force it. You don't want to break anything. You can always move it forward a bit to try to hide the non-connected pieces. And seeing his finger right now, oh man, you clearly see his fingers attached to his, that portion of his hand, and it looks a bit ugly, but it is what it is. I mean, it's not like you can stare at his finger, but it's just, it looks deformed. That's all I'm trying to say. Sculpt work is phenomenal. You see some wrinkles on his clothing and his abs. You actually see his torso turning, and it's sculpted wonderfully. Another wonderful sculpting are the spiky hairs. You see individually sculpted hairs. That's phenomenal. I also appreciate the shading. Towards the front it is a bit darker. Towards the back it is a bit lighter. Now I do wish they added more sculpted hairlines on the back of the ponytail, but it looks a bit flat in my opinion. But since, depending on how you angle it, you're not going to see it. I also really appreciate the shading across the whole entire body. Shading everywhere. It makes a figure not look flat. Now the shoulder is great as well. It has a metallic silver painting. Not bright, not glossy, but it does look metallic, and there's also shading on towards the end as well. Now, some issues I do want to talk about in terms of paint work. The light blue, the painting for it isn't as clean. Sometimes there's slight paint bleeds, or it isn't, like I said, clean. It isn't straight. Like right here, you can kind of see that it's being smudged. So, not the worst thing in the world, especially for this price point. I know figure prices are rising, but I got this for around $130, $140. So I'm not spending like $200 for it. Because if I did spend $200 for it, then oh my god, it better be perfect. Again, some smudge on the back portion as well. Not clean, but not the worst thing in the world. To praise the sculpting even more, you actually see the muscle on the back, being flexed out a bit. He is in a dynamic pose, getting ready to do battle. So really appreciate the sculpting. Honestly, it's phenomenal. For the face, it looks like Ku a bit. He looks a lot younger from what I understand, and I'll show you the Craft Essence image. This is based off of his teenage years, or his younger days, when he was still an apprentice with Skahak. I actually don't know, the age where he died, or how old he got. Don't know the lore or anything, but to me this looks like when he's still a teenager. And what they did is they switched out the random spirit head in the image for Gabe Bogue. That's the only difference, but this should be a younger Ku. For some size comparisons, this is a 1/7 scale Skahak figure by Quest, and obviously they are not in scale with each other, which sucks because I kind of wanted to pose them next to each other, but there's just a huge difference in scale. Here's another comparison with Emiya Archer, his best friend. Don't believe me? Watch the volleyball episode for the Fates Shiro Emiya cooking show, whatever it was called. They are best of friends. Frenemies, I'd say. And they are perfectly in scale. This is also a 1/8 by Alter. And yeah, I think I'll place them next to each other. Like I said, they're best buds. And finally, here is a comparison with another 1/8 scale figure, Caster Gilgamesh. They're both from the same company. Looks good next to each other, I guess. So my final thoughts on Ku from Orange Rouge. It's a good figure, right? It's very little issues whatsoever. Some painting issues, like I said, the misalignment, but thankfully I was able to peg him onto the base, so no problem whatsoever. There was some slight scratches on his foot because I had to try to align it, which was a pain in the ass, but not a huge issue. It's not like you're gonna see the bottom of his foot. The spear looks good as well. Could use a bit more shading, but the body, sculpt work, the painting, shading all across, that's great. And it's, I wouldn't say it's affordable, but on the cheaper, I can't even say it's cheaper, but it's on the lower end in terms of price points in comparison to other Fates figures. So pick this up. He is best Doggo after all, and all of us, I mean all FGO players, should have grailed him because he is a 5-star, no, a 6-star in disguise. A tremendous thanks to all my patrons for supporting me. If you want to support my channel, check out my Patreon or channel membership. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Fates content. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join my Discord server. All links are in the description. Have an awesome day, everyone. Till next time.